Camera is delighted to bring you some of Scotland's most exciting new voices in our Brave New Words readings. C.F. Barrington was raised in Hertfordshire and now divides his time between Fife and the Lake District. For our Brave New Words, he is reading from his Edinburgh-set debut novel The Wolf Mile, the first instalment in the Pantheon series, which has just been published by Head of Zeus.
As soon as they emerged, the rain embraced them, misting their faces and sluicing off their helmets. Timanthes hated being at street level, and he could sense the tension in his troops. They were high, straining, just a whisper from breaking. But that was good. It meant they were primed for a fight. The two pedestrians hurled themselves into a doorway, and he spied the glow of their phones as they filmed the progress of this Titan troop. On a less urgent night, he would have harried them into surrendering the devices, but this time it would have to be tolerated. Let them post their footage, and the online masses have their moments of hysteria. The Titans swept across the empty junction at George IV Bridge, skirted around St Giles's, and crossed the streets to Advocates Close. He halted them with a hand and peered down steps, but nothing moved. With another gesture they bounded forward. 2 doors on their right were locked, but it was the third he was seeking. It had a metal grille which stood ajar, and the door beyond was open. He glanced at his captain, and there was the soft hum of 30 blades emerging from oiled scabbards. "Use this opportunity, companions," he whispered. "Take them by surprise and bleed them. Tonight we even the odds." He opened the grille and shouldered through the door. For a moment he could see nothing. The fresh air was replaced by a stale odour of damp stone and the acrid scent of piss. Steps dropped into darkness, and he cocked his head to listen. Somewhere a vehicle hooted, but the shadows beyond yielded only yawning silence. He edged forward and began to descend. Within such a confined space, the noise of their advance felt like a din. Men swore softly, swords knocked corselets, shields bumped on the wall. For the love of Zeus, he thought, Svein will hear us coming from a league away. He could feel the fear of his hoplites. They were sky gods born to bound across the rooftops, but now they were fumbling like moles, hemmed in by stone. And worse, they were in the terrain of their foe. This was the Horde's stronghold, and its troops knew every inch of the tunnels and crypts and vaults that ran beneath Edinburgh. They were masters of its secrets. They had spent years burrowing and building, reinforcing, widening, and it was said that a warrior could run the mile from the castle to Holyrood Palace in 10 minutes without seeing the stars. Inching down, Timanthes saw the flicker of flame. Alina had noticed it too, and the whole company rounded a corner and emerged into a cellar about 40 yards in length, low-ceilinged, musty, frigid, with torches burning from sconces on each wall. "This doesn't feel right," Alina whispered, because the room seemed to be awaiting their arrival. "Aye," Timanthes nodded as he eyed the doors. "Titans! Shields!" In practiced movements, the hoplites swung their circular leather and bronze-faced hoplons from their shoulders and locked their left forearms into the straps. Even as the movement died away, the returning silence was broken by a single howl, like that of a wolf. On its final note, it was joined by the rest of the pack. "Titans, to me!" Timanthes yelled, and each figure stepped together, interlocked their shields, and braced. The cry died away, and then the doors opened, and the warriors of Valhalla stepped wordlessly into the room. In that closed space they were a multitude, booted, helmeted, mailed, some with heavy bearskins, many with silver arm rings which shone in the torchlight. They carried war axes and broadswords. There were women among them too, their faces hidden behind the iron eyepieces worn by every player in the Pantheon to conceal their identity. The horde kept coming, 40, 50, 60. They filled the room, arraying themselves in front of the hoplites with just 10 yards between the two lines, and Timanthes knew this would be the killing ground. At the fore was a huge man carrying an axe, his blonde beard braided into forks and a tattoo creeping across his throat. He locked eyes on the hoplite officer, and Timanthes expected him to speak, because this was the Viking Jarl, the pack leader, and it was custom to begin confrontations with ritual challenges to ignite the troops and give the watching curate something to salivate over. But not this time. This time the slaughter would be swift. The Jarl raised his battle-axe in one hand and hurled himself across the gap.